Welcome back to your fifth lecture of the lesson Laws of Motion. So, in this lecture, we will be talking about Newton's third law of motion, and then we will skip this topic, which is called as principle of conservation of linear momentum. I'll be taking it in the next lecture of this chapter, and after completing that third law, I'll be doing this rocket propulsion topic, and this is a very important topic, which is the application of Newton's third law. Okay, in last lecture I taught you something about Newton's second law, and its statement is something like the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum of the body, and the changes in momentum takes place in the direction of the force. So I explained this law in context with this statement, just with this statement. So the rate of I mean okay, the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum, and the change in momentum takes place in the uh, I guess I was wrong. Okay, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the force applied. So I explained it by using a ball, and we are pushing it, pulling it, and this way I explained this law. And these two paragraphs are must, and this gives more theory about this law. So you must continuously read this paragraph and understand it by your wholehearted manner. Something written here, or no external force is required to maintain the motion of a body moving with uniform velocity. So if a body is moving at uniform velocity, then the net force acting on the body is zero. So if there is any change, force is acting, because acceleration makes change in velocity. If there is change in velocity, there is acceleration. So if there is acceleration, then there is force acting, because force formula is mass into acceleration. Momentum formula is mass into velocity. And we read about 1 newton, 1 dyne, and then unit of force. What is the unit of force? It's basically newton. And then we saw about unit force and 1 newton force are same. Then gravitational force is some other units. Okay, 2 minutes have gone, that's fine. And then gravitational unit force is and another unit which is used to calculate force. Then we saw about impulse. So what is impulse? Impulse is equal to the product of force and time taken. So what is impulsive force? When large amount of force acting in short period of time is called as impulsive force. So what's the example I gave you? In cricket, while we are batting, that's the example for impulsive force. So like momentum, force, impulse is also a, a keyword which is expressed in physics, that is basically called a force into time taken. And then impulse is magnitudely equal to the change in momentum, delta p. Okay, then there are some examples: automobiles, cricket fielders, that's all. Okay, here is the picture of a wicket keeper who will be pulling his hands backward while catching the ball. Okay, because he is extending the time of action of force in his hand. uh, yeah, he's extending the time of action. He's not just stopping the ball at the same place. He's gonna pull his hand backward, a bit backward, because he is going to extend the time. He's not going to stop the ball within 0.01 seconds. He's going to pull his hand for at least 1 second. So there is difference between 0.01 second and 1 second now. That's where the main science or physics works in saving his fractures and some other injuries. Well, my best wicket keeper is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He's a good man. I love him. Okay, everyone love him. because he is a great talented player. Coming back to physics, we'll be starting with Newton's third law of motion. So this is the final law. Going ahead, Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. They always act on two different bodies. See, in internet or in Facebook, Instagram, or any other thing, in memes you might have noticed the word called as karma. Karma, karma. So what is karma? If you do good, you'll get good, and if you do bad to others, then you will get bad from some others. So what you do, what you get, that's called as karma. So this word karma is closely related to our third law. What our third law states is every action has equal and opposite reaction. So if you're gonna slap someone, then some other is gonna slap you. This is called karma. But in context of physics, what we need to know is, just I will be drawing something, and then we can know it better. So take consider this as a wall, just a wall. Save it. Okay, this is a wall. So you are going to push it. Drawing a hand is very tough, so you are going to push it, just pushing with 5 Newton force. 5 Newton. Okay, so this is the action done by you. You are going to push the wall, so 5 Newton force is acting on the wall. And what this law states that is for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So you are going to give action to it, so where is the reaction coming? You might be asking me, right? So what the wall is gonna do is it is also going to push you back with 5 Newton force in opposite direction. See, action is done by you on the wall, and the reaction is done by the wall on you. That is difference between these things. You are pushing the wall with 5 Newton, and the wall is gonna push you with 5 Newton. That's what the law is stating, and they always act on two different bodies. See, the first body is your hand, and the second body is the wall. The action acts on the wall, and the reaction acts on your hand. So there are two different bodies. First thing you might be knowing is that this is just the third law. And if you are very deeply interested in learning physics and you start thinking that you're take this as your left hand and this is your right hand, you are going to push each other. See, uh, left hand is gonna push your right hand, and simultaneously your right hand is gonna push your left hand. So this happens in the same body. Yeah, you're going to do it, so your body is one. And you might be asking that, bro, my body is not different, they are same. See, physics is thinking, and physics is taking into context. uh, See, when you are riding your bike, and if you are going to see just your bike or your handle or your just key in your bike, it seems to be in rest. But when a outsider or a person standing in the ground sees your bike key or your bike, it is in motion. So there is difference between the context or from where you are observing the things. So in this you need to observe that your left hand is one object and your right hand is the other object. So in context of this, these two are different objects. You must not take your body as a single object here. Your left hand is one object and your right hand is another object, and one body is pushing other and the reaction is occurring from the other body. That's all. Very simple. Then if a body A applies a force Fa on a body B, then the body B reacts with force Fb on the body A, which is equal to Fa in magnitude but opposite in direction. See, I explained with the wall case now. The Fa is the force applied by your hand on the wall, and the Fb is the reaction force which is given by the wall to you. Both forces are equal. I took 5 Newton, 5 Newton, both are equal, but they are opposite in direction. That's what it is mentioned here with the minus symbol. Minus symbol indicates that the forces are opposite to each other. If this is a plus sign, then forces are parallel to each other. That's what they are saying, this law. Then we are going to take some examples. Okay, when a bird fly, they push the air downwards with their wings. That is called as action. The bird is gonna push the air downward. So each and every action has a equal and opposite reaction. That's the law now. So, and the air pushes the bird upwards. That's the reaction. The bird pushes down, then the air pushes the bird upwards. I guess my words are just trembling. I will try to adjust with it. Sorry. That's the case in bird flying. So the next thing is, when a person swims, he pushes the water using the hands backwards. Same case as the bird. That is action, and the water pushes the swimmer in the forward direction. That is called the reaction. So these two cases are same, just they are explaining with two different situations. First one is bird and air, and the second one is a human and water. That's it. There is not much difference. Third one, when you fire a bullet, yeah, this is a good example. When you fire a bullet from a gun, okay, the gun recoils backwards, and the bullet is moving forward, and the gun equalizes this forward action by moving backward. See, what is recoiling? First of all, recoiling is nothing but the backward motion of the gun after shooting. See, இப்போ நீங்கள் சுட போகிறீங்கன்னா, இப்போ நீங்கள் சுட்டிங்கன்னா அந்த புல்லட் ஃபார்வர்டில் போயிடும். ஆனால் ஒரு ஜர்க்கு நீங்கள் பின்னாடி இன்ஹெரிட் பண்ணுவீங்க. அந்த ஜர்க்குக்கு பேர் தான் ரீகாயிலிங். But if you take in context of physics, jerk is another unit like what you seen as impulse. You will learn it later what is jerk and all. Okay, first of all, let us take that word to explain this thing. See, that jerk is called as recoiling. The bullet is moving forward, that is action, and the gun is moving backward, and that's the reaction. That's all for the third law, and we are explaining the examples. We are going to skip this topic because it's a bit tough thing. That's all. There is a derivation also, I guess. Yeah, there is a derivation, so I'll be explaining in the next lecture. Next one is rocket propulsion. Yeah, many of us are very much interested to see rocket going upwards, or India launching rockets from ISRO, and NASA launching rockets from America, I guess. Yeah, America. And if you just see from outside, it's just a thing. It's you're just gonna fire the rocket and it's going to the sky and it's gonna leave the satellites. But it's not the case. It's very very tough, and there are many calculations which is taken care by the scientists in the ISRO space station, or some other things like NASA. There are many things which is needed to be done to make a rocket go up. They are concentrating on the topics like gravitation, fuel, burning, calorimetry. Next thing is they will be also concentrating on plastics, steel, leather, and astronaut suits, and then pressure gauge. Many things they must consider. If they are not going to consider a single thing, a minute mistake can make a great disaster. So rocket science is very very tough, and once you are selected in ISRO and you're going to start working in ISRO, it's a great experience. You will get a new experience. It's very good to work in ISRO. You need a very bright mind to get into ISRO. It's not just you're seeing it in TV, it's something different. If anyone like to join in ISRO, you need to love physics, and you need to learn physics from your bottom of the heart. Okay, coming here. Propulsion of rockets is based on the law of conservation of linear momentum as well as Newton's third law of motion. Yeah, My mother used to say something, complete the work fully. See, I stopped here now, but the sentence continued till here. See, if we do something half or somewhat like third quarter, it won't seem to be looking nice. If you do it completely or 100%, it will be something different. It is something looking good. That's what my mother used to say me regularly. But as a teenager, I won't hear it at all. That's age problem. I can't do anything with that. Okay. First, let us know something about this thing a bit. Just I'm gonna explain something. Uh, okay, this is enough, I guess. This is final momentum and this is initial momentum. According to principle of conservation of linear momentum, we can say that final momentum is equals initial momentum. That's all. That's the case. That's all we need to know for knowing something about rocket propulsion. And I explain what is Newton's third law. Every action has a equal and opposite reaction. Okay. Rockets are filled with a fuel. Fuel is just something like petrol, white petrol, something like that, which is used to carry on the engine process with a fuel in the propellant tank. Propellant tank, you know what is a propellant tank? Propellant means something which is attached in the bottom of the rocket to move it upwards. Propellant tank. Tank is something used to store fuel, man. That is propellant tank. When the rocket is fired, this fuel is burnt and a hot gas is ejected with a high speed from the nozzle of the rocket. Nozzle, see what is nozzle? If you take a bottle, water bottle, the 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 part where I mean the part in the bottom of the region below the water cap, water bottle cap is called as nozzle. Something like neck region of the neck region. Oh no, okay, neck region or the topmost region of the water bottle is called as nozzle, from where something comes out. That's nozzle. So for a nozzle in the rocket, gas comes out, hot gas. So what the hot gas does, we will see it further, producing a huge momentum. So how can something produce a huge momentum? Momentum formula is mass into velocity. So actually the rocket has mass, some in some more 600 700 tons. I don't know how much mass it have, but to produce momentum we need velocity. So the high pressure gas is going to give you velocity. So if velocity is given, then we can provide huge momentum. Then to balance this momentum, an equal and opposite reaction force is produced in the combustion chamber, which makes the rocket project forward. So see, actually the hot gas is going to hit the ground. Actually it's going to hit the ground. That is action. So what the ground does is it is going to push the rocket upwards, but where it is pushing, that's the matter. Where it is going to push the rocket. See, hot gas is coming down and the action is happening, and where is the reaction going to take place? Yeah, that's the great thinking. We must think. Physics is all about thinking. Okay, action I said, reaction is going to happen in the combustion chamber. See, the force of the ground is going to be applied in the combustion chamber or something like the bottom region. So reaction is pushing the rocket front, so it's going out of the ground. That's it, which makes the rocket project forward, and we just successfully projected our rocket. Then wait a minute. Okay, while in motion the mass of the rocket gradually decreases. Yeah, it decreases why it decreases? Because the fuel is going to be burnt in a very much faster manner. So if 1 liter is burnt, nearly 1 kg of mass is going to be ejected from the rocket. So the mass is going to be reduced or decreased by time to time, then until the fuel is completely burnt out. So if the fuel is completely burnt out, I guess the rocket is more or less 60 percentage completely filled by fuel. So 60 percentage of its mass is fuel. So if all the fuel is burnt out, then very less mass is going to be staying in the rocket, since there is no net external force acting on it. See, if a rocket is going to cross a particular distance from the ground, the gravitational force is going to be negligible. Negligible means zero. So there is no gravitational pull. If there is gravity, it is going to pull it towards its ground, but there is no gravity and there is no external forces which is going to act on the rocket. So the momentum remains conserved. What I said is final momentum equals initial momentum. So if initially mass is more and velocity is a bit less, there is some value. And in final, if mass is less, then to compromise with it, velocity must be greater. That's what they are going to use it here. Linear momentum. Acting on it, the linear momentum of the system is conserved. See, read it line by line, you will automatically get what is happening. Then the mass of the rocket decreases with altitude. Why? Because it's gonna burn out its fuel, which results in the gradual increase in the velocity of the rocket. If mass is going to be reduced, then to compromise the momentum, we need to increase velocity, or the rocket will increase its velocity. See, I can give you some small example. If you're going to push, uh, I can draw and say, see, this is a block of 5 kg we can take. Then this is a block of 10 kg. Okay, you are applying force in both blocks. Blocks is nothing but a box, that's all. And the force is F. You are going to take F as 10 Newton. You are going to give 10 Newton to 5 kg block and 10 Newton to 10 kg block. Which will move faster? It's very easy. 5 kg block will move faster and 10 kg block will move slower. Why? This is just a basic concept about this law of conservation of momentum. If velocity increases, mass decreases. What I mean to say is, if 5 kg is the mass of the block and 10 meter per second is the velocity, then we will be getting 50 as the product. And if we take 10 kg block and multiply it with 5 meter per second velocity, we will be getting final answer as 50. In both cases, both are same, but mass is different and velocity is different. See, initially the rocket is more in mass and less in velocity, and after going to some altitude, the rocket is going to give out some fuel, so the mass becomes half or less than that. So if it is half, and these two values must compromise with each other, so to compromise it, the velocity is subsequently gonna increase. That's what they are saying, that there is a gradual increase in velocity of the rocket. I guess I explained something in a better manner. This sketch tool is a great importance in my lecture. Okay, at one stage it reaches a velocity which is sufficient to just escape from the gravitational pull of the earth. You know something interesting? A rocket needs 11.2 kilometer per second. See, if a rocket travels 11.2 kilometer in 1 second, then it can escape from the gravitational pull of the earth. Imagine something, our bike is going to travel in just 40 meter per second. This is just our bike's speed, and this is rocket speed. How it is obtaining this speed? Because it's gonna give out its fuel in its path. So mass reduces and velocity increases. That's conservation of linear momentum. We will be discussing that topic in the next lecture, which is sufficient to just escape from the gravitational pull of the earth. Gravitation is coming ahead. This velocity is called as escape velocity. See, I said now 11.2 kilometer per second. That's called as escape velocity. I guess I don't know. I'm not confirmed with that velocity number. It might be 11.2 or 12.4 something. It is between that. But kilometer per second is confirmed. That is called as escape velocity. If you're going to drive your car or a bike or your cycle in that much speed, then you will surely leave our earth and you will be traveling towards Mars or Jupiter or our moon exactly. That's all about this rocket propulsion. Rocket propulsion is very easy, but you must concentrate on this area and some topics from here. And in the next lecture I will be teaching about principle of conservation of linear momentum. This is very easy, and we have some formula, derivation, and some problems. It's quite interesting. I love this topic. Okay, finally, like the video if you got something, share it, subscribe it if you wish. Thank you.